Everyone, welcome to YouTube land and Facebook land. It is your friendly neighborhood PRE, Mr. Justin Hamza Tyler. How's everyone doing? Happy Thursday, Ramadan Mubarak or Ramadan Kareem. I have some friends on the screen with me today, as we promised, right? This is going to be the grade 5 course request process meeting. We want to make sure we always have a smooth transition from grade 5 to grade 6. And this meeting helps facilitate that smooth process as much as possible. And so on the screen, you see here that it's a family first meeting, right? And you're going to get a lot more information about the GEMS Family First Initiative. And we're always about family in our school anyway, right? So this is a part of that process to keep families updated and prepared for what's going to happen in the next couple of months when your child, inshallah, is promoted from grade 5 to grade 6, which is the transition from elementary to middle school. All right. So again, my name is Justin Hamza Tyler. I'm your friendly parent relations executive or PRE of the school. Like I said before, I do have some friends on the panel today. And so let's go one by one to introduce themselves and before we actually start this presentation. So Miss Donna, can you explain who you are in the school, what you do? And yeah, we'll pass it off to Mr. Gregory after that. So Miss Donna, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Hi, everyone. My name is Miss Dana Al-Shakarchi. I am the middle school counselor here. So I will be the counselor for grade 6, 7, and 8. Next year, your grade 6s will be with the middle school counselor. That's it.
All right, thanks so much.
Hi.
Mr. Gregory, no. Mr. Gregory, we'll go last. You can go last.
I'm gonna go last. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna go last. Miss Amanda, how you doing today? Please explain to the public who you are, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I'm Miss Amanda. I'm the 5th grade team lead, and we are getting these kids ready for their transition up to middle school.
Absolutely. Such a short and succinct answer, but it was on time for sure. All right, thank you, Amanda. And then Miss Shobana, how are you doing today? This is the IT is in the building today, you know. So Miss Shobana, can you explain who you are and your process within this grade 5 to grade 6 transition?
Sure, Justin. Hi, everyone. This is Ms. Shobana. I'm one of the IT members in GAAQ. I'll be helping students with Alma, Gmail, and other systems they use at school. Yeah, and I will be helping you as well to activate your Alma accounts probably early next week. Thank you.
Inshallah. All right, good. So this is my team. These are my friends, right? And you probably know some of these individuals anyway. If you haven't seen them, now you do, right? Face to the name. All right. So I'm excited for this, I guess, presentation that you see on the screen. Mr. Gregory, this is the time now to introduce yourself, right? And your process in all of this as well before we begin the presentation.
Yeah, I'll have to. Mr. Wessel really wanted to be here, but he's currently in Dubai for a training. So he's the middle school head, and he's really one of the key figures here that we're missing. But as Mr. Tyler said, I'm Eamonn Gregory. I'm the upper school principal, and I oversee grade 6s through 12. Next year there will be a middle school assistant principal who is just dedicated fully to grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. That's going to be Mr. Griffiths. So really looking forward to that, and he's going to be a valuable member of the team next year. And I am essentially involved in everything. And just make sure that everything runs smoothly, and I can assist with a lot of questions and stuff just from the experience. I think this is the 5th or 4th time we've done this family first meeting this time of the year.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gregory. We definitely miss Mr. Wessel right now. Wish he was here as well, but you got to handle business, right? So it's all good. All right, now without further ado, let's really get into this family first meeting, the grade 5 transition. So Mr. Gregory, can you start us off, please?
Yeah, this is an instructional video that I made a few years ago, but it essentially goes through how, and we're not going to play through it right now because it just takes too long. It's essentially me doing a talk over voice as a student example and showing you Alma and where you need to go to pick the courses for next year. It's a pretty simple, once you get signed up and you signed in, and that's what Miss Shubhana here is, she's the lady, she's key in making sure that parents get access to Alma, get their Gmails and whatnot, and get students access. But once they log in, it's pretty self-explanatory. You follow a form, you pick your courses, and then we have a 98% success rate in getting students the courses that they want. And honestly, with the grade 6, incoming grade 6 students, it's probably closer to 100% because it's not that complicated. It obviously gets more complicated in 11th and 12th grade. But that's essentially what the instructional video will be doing. I'm going to send it to Miss Amanda, and she'll be able to send it out via Class Dojo and that, and so all the grade 5 parents get access to it.
Absolutely. And also, this video is very helpful. It's a short video, but it's very helpful to understand kind of how it works. And as you have heard before, Ms. Shobana is very much a part of that process to really make sure things work on the back end for our parents and also our staff. All right. All right. So we'll move on to the next slide. And Mr. Gregory, go ahead.
Yeah, and this has already been communicated with all of the students in grade 5. We've done like basically a workshop talk in our black box room, and we've done a showcase of all of the electives that are on option that they get to choose next year. So all the students will be all the students will have to take mathematics, social studies, English, and science. That's just the core subjects that every student takes in middle school and all the way up really through their grade 12. But then you get these choices. Every student gets to pick 8 classes. So 4 of those are selected for you, and then you get to pick 4 additional classes. Now, the next slide will explain a little bit more about that, but just when we go through this, we have art, which is just your general art class, intro to band. There's also, I forgot to add it to the slide, but there's intro to band and there's band. Intro to band is for all grade 6 students who are not familiar or used to playing in an orchestra or a large group setting with instruments. It's usually like 30 to 35 people in a room who all play one song together. That's the idea of a band class. So the intro to band class is usually grade 6 students who are getting used to their instrumental learning. But there is a band class. If there is a student in grade 6 who is exceptionally talented or has already got that experience, they can skip the intro to band class and go to band. Now, the band class will have multi-grade levels. So you have grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8 students in that class. So it's a little bit different, but that's one of those gifted programs that we like to talk about. Then you've got applied music, which students would do 4 different instruments throughout the year. And they'll play the ukulele, they'll play guitar, they'll play the drums at one stage, and keyboard. So you'll cycle through those instruments throughout the year and you get experience to all of them. And then if you want the following year, you can go into band or you continue with the applied music program. But it's focused more on individual student skills rather than a large group. Drama, very popular course. Miss Ali has been with us for numerous years. She'll be teaching drama next year as well. Drama is theatre, making short little skits in class, acting skills, working on prop design, those type of things. Entrepreneurship is a new program. We've only had it for 2 years, but it's very popular again. Students learn about business models, how to present, and go through that. And then information technology is your coding, your digital mastery, all of those type of things. Got PE, obviously, is not mandatory. You don't have to pick physical education if you do not want to, but it is a popular course in middle school. So if you pick PE, you'll be adapt to a numerous amount of sports throughout the year. And then you get into your languages, which are French, Spanish, and Arabic. The one thing I'll talk about Arabic, Islamic, and study skills once we get to the next slide. Well, that's essentially your choices, and you have to pick 8 classes. Every student gets 8 classes. Also, Qatar history, which isn't mentioned here, but that's just mandatory, again, from the Ministry of Education. So every student will take 1 hour of Qatar history, and that's built into their schedule as well.
Mr. Gregory, I have actually a couple questions.
Yeah.
For grade 6, are there any honors classes or gifted classes? Because that's what I hear sometimes as well, that my child is in a gifted program or honors program. So do we have anything of that like?
So grade 6 we treat as the foundational year, and after grade 6 we look at map data. All of those things I'll talk about later, and depending on how well they do in their map class and in their mathematics class, they can get recommended into the advanced maths program. And then in the electives there is advanced classes that they can get into, but again they have to do really well in those courses and work. In middle school, there's not a lot of gifted, programs, as in like tracked programs. It's more about students exploring different electives and getting a foundation before they go into high school, where there is a lot of gifted tracks and specific classes that are based on recommendation and student achievement.
Cool. And then I have one more question as well. I know it's not a particular class, but it is something that our kids do 4 times a week. So how does advisory fit within all of this within their schedule?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think something actually I forgot to build in. The advisory program is something that we reintroduced 2 years ago. We lost it during COVID, but we reintroduced it. It's had massive success. Students are placed into a specific house. We have the Ravens, Falcons, Red Hawks, and Eagles. And we're thinking about introducing a 5th house next year, the Owls. But essentially, students placed into one of those houses. They have 18 classmates that are all in that house. And then they work through different programs that are assigned throughout the year. It's like a nice, familiar face that you get to meet every day. And you get to check in. That teacher then is in charge of making sure that you're informed about our whole school events, our house challenges, all of those things. But it's a really good program. One of the days, for example, we do drop everything and read on a Monday. Students will drop everything, bring in a book, and they have to read for those 30 minutes to try help improve literacy across the school. And I think that's been a massive success. And we've other ideas for next year that are really going to enhance that program.
All right. Thank you for that. We'll go on to the next slide. So middle school, what's different?
So middle school, what's different? There's a study skills program, which is based on students, and grade 5 students are going to be doing their map testing in the next 2 months. And depending on how they score on that map testing, if we feel like that their reading level is not at the appropriate level yet, so in the bottom 40 percentile, that would mean there are multiple different grade levels below the expected reading level. We have a course that's there to catch up. Now that course is called Study Skills, and it will replace one of those options you get. So it's one of the 8 classes that you have to take. We've seen massive success in it in helping students who are struggling. Sometimes the students coming from a different country, they're ELL, or maybe a student's just 1 grade level below, and all they need is a study skills class for 1 year to catch up, and then it helps improve their reading. And honestly, through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it's that chance for all of those students to make it up until, because the grades essentially in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade don't necessarily impact the student's chances in getting into a university or college, not until 9th grade. So we want to make sure that the students coming from grade 5 who are a few grade levels below in reading catch up before grade 9, so that when they go into grade 9 that they have the best chance to succeed and get into good competitive colleges and universities. The Arabic, native and non-native, there's no such thing, it's just Arabic. It is something that we discuss, and I'm currently talking with the Arabic department at the moment about ways that we can better this. But we just have an Arabic class. If students go in with no Arabic, they get put into that class and they get given a separate content and material. And all students who are from an Arab nation have to take it. We don't use letter grades. So I know, Ms. Amanda, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 1 through 4, correct?
Correct.
Is what you used to see in grade 5. And then as soon as you get to grade 6, it's 0% to 100%, a 60 to 69 is a D, a 70 to 79 is a C, and 80 to an 89 is a B, and a 90 to 100 is an A. And anything below 60 is actually a fail. That's important. I think most parents and students are aware of that system, but it does take some getting used to some places. Again, PE is not mandatory like it is, and all of the electives really aren't mandatory. I know there's a lot of electives in elementary, and they get to try out all of them. And the benefit is that they get to enjoy all of that during elementary and in grade 5, but now they really get to focus on what their interests are in. And if they don't like art, they don't have to take art. If they don't like music, they don't have to take music. But they get to really go into depth now and pick the courses they want. They get to elect their electives, right? And then electives may have different grade levels in each class, which I don't think is in elementary. But if you're in that middle school band class could have 6, 7s, and 8s in it. And IT classes, the PE classes, all of those elective classes are multi-grade level. Students who pick those courses, which is good because the research shows that age is not necessarily the key indicator for success. being placed with students who are a little bit older in classes can actually push you to succeed more and advance in those things, because you get to see the experience and the strength of a grade 8 student in art who's taken it for 3 years, and you're only a grade 6 student. So there's a great research into that, and it's a great benefit to our students. The core subjects are all grade 6 set students. So your science, social studies, science, and mathematics are all grade 6 students. They're just grade 6. There's no grade 7s or grade 8s in those courses, but the electives have a wide variety. Arabic and Islamic as well are grade 6 only. They would be grade 6 Islamic and grade 6 Arabic, so they don't filter into that. And then there's some uniform changes which are mild that you wouldn't even really could tell, but we are very strict about the uniform in upper school. And students who do not wear the correct uniform on the given day would be sent home, actually. And we have a sort of zero tolerance for students who come in the wrong uniform. So that's an important thing. I think elementary, we're still forgiving and we're trying. Although I have to say that the uniform is very good in elementary, but in upper school, we expect perfection and 100% students in uniform all the time, dressed to be prepared. So that's that. And then I think the next slide, Mr. Tyler, if you want.
Yeah. We could. Before we go to the next slide, I want to bring Miss Donna in here for a second, because obviously, not obviously, but for me, I know that the grade 5 to grade 6 transition is sometimes the toughest transition, I think, of all the transitions from one grade to another in the American system. So Ms. Donna, what is your role as a counselor to help families, help students make that transition from grade 5 to grade 6?
Thanks. Well, one thing is I am part of the Glowup committee, right? So we work together. I work with Amanda and the lower school counselor. We put in several events leading up to the start of grade 6 for them to slowly ease into it. And I'll talk more about that in the next slide, I think. But in general, I mean, last year, if there were some students with particular concerns, they were able to come and see me at the end of the year, at the end of their grade 5 year. And I'm happy to support them in that way. But at this point, it's mostly just kids are curious. So parents talk to them as much as we can, let them know what to expect next year. That's the purpose of this meeting. And
I was muted, my bad. I just wanted to let people know that there is a counselor, for middle school that addresses a lot of the social emotional learning that could happen. Also just being there as a person, that you can lean on and trust and things like that. It's a very important job. And that transition, like I said, is tough on all angles, right? Going from elementary to middle school, that's a big jump, and not everyone's prepared for it. Some are, some not. And we're here to help and support as much as we can. Thank you, Ms. Donna.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a lot of there's a lot of things I've forgotten there, and you can't really, we could talk for the next hour about the differences between elementary and middle school.
Oh, yeah.
Like bags is one that students struggle with every year, and having to carry their bags around. We do provide students a locker, but those are the sort of nuanced sort of pieces of the experience of transitioning up that every student gets used to, and sometimes struggle with. But as I said, we could chat all day.
Oh yeah, definitely. But we'll move on because this is also an important topic as well. So the importance of MAP scores. Why are they important? What are they?
Yeah, and we do 3 MAP scores now. We do MAP reading, MAP science, and MAP mathematics. I know that in elementary they're doing it 3 times a year, which is really good because it prepares them for middle school. We only do it twice at the moment in the middle school program and high school program. Those MAP scores are an external data point for us to really tell where our students are. The MAP reading is one of the ones that we really focus on, because if you can't read, you can't access the information in order to succeed in 90% of the classes that we offer. So the reading is very important. You jump into this, we use that data to put students into specific courses in high school. And as I said earlier, the middle school program is built so that we can get students caught up with that study skills class in order to make sure that they're ready for those advanced classes in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th. Fifth grade students who are taking their test in the next 2 months, if they score in the bottom 40 percentile, we mandate that they're in the study skills class. It's a conversation we obviously want to have with parents, and I'm willing to work with parents on that, but it's really in the best interest of all those students. It changes every year depending on the map data, which is done across the world. But last year, a score of 212 was considered on grade level for grade 5 students. And so we would look at that and score it against the rest of the world, and then make sure that the student, if they get a 212 or above, they should be in a good position to move on. But if they're really scoring below 200, 205, that's where we have concerns, and maybe it's 1 year of study skills, or it could be 3 years of study skills catching up. But it's a good intervention program, and of course, it's a longer conversation, and I know we'll talk about this in the next few weeks in one of these live streams. But AP courses, if you don't have the right reading level, you won't be accepted into an AP course in 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. And that really impacts students' college and university readiness. So we want to make sure that that map data is important, and that students are taking it seriously throughout their time in elementary, middle school, and high.
Right. And the MAP is, I guess, an acronym for Measure of Academic Progress, right? So we're just measuring that progress year over year. All right. Cool.
Yeah. As you take the test, the questions get harder and harder and harder, and then it will show if you're getting it wrong, right, then they decide that that's pretty much where you are. And so it's a very good assessment.
Yeah, definitely. Before I go ahead to the next slide, parents, if you're watching right now, please put any questions you have for any of us in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, and we'll put that question up at the end of the live stream so we can answer your question. All right. That's really the thing that we want. We want to make sure we go through this presentation and then also answer your questions that you have at the end. I'm assuming if you don't have any questions, then we're doing a pretty good job of answering all of those questions, but please let us know any comments, concerns, questions, inquiries. Please put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and then we'll make sure we answer that at the end of the live stream. All right. And thanks for coming, by the way. Appreciate that. All right. So we'll go on to the next slide. And yeah, this is the hot topic question, right? This is as clear as we can make it. So Mr. Gregory, can you talk about Arabic and Islamic and who needs to take those classes?
Yeah, and this is in elementary, I know that, but just we had to clarify a point this year, and we sent out a survey to all the families to fill in to register clearly with the school what religion they are. The Arabic hasn't changed. These are the countries by the Ministry of Education that are considered Arabic nations. If you come from one of these and you've registered, I believe it's your QID, is registered with one of these nationalities, then you have to take Arabic, and you have to take that class. I know that can be a struggle sometimes, because certain students might have been away in America for all of their life, and they come back with a Saudi Arabia passport, and they have to take Arabic. There is exemptions, and you can apply for them, but they are hard to come by, and really they take a long time. So it's not something I recommend, but we can have that discussion if that impacts you. And then, as I said, Islamic native, if you're a Muslim from one of those Arabic countries and you've registered with the school in that survey as a Muslim student from the Islam, you will be placed into Islamic native if you're from one of those Arabic countries. If you've registered as a Muslim from a non-Arab country, like let's say Canada, for example, we have a lot of students from Canada or America who are Muslim. Next year, you will have to take Islamic non-native. You don't get that as an option. So you will be put into Islamic non-native. And again, that's dependent on what you put in the most e-survey that went out. It's just about what you're registered with the school with. If there was a mistake on that form and you registered Muslim and you're actually a non-Muslim, or you're a Christian, or you're other, you can also say just none. You don't have to identify. Then you just need to contact admissions and make sure it's updated in ALMA. And then we know that that's what the religion that we send off to the Ministry of Education to make sure that we're in compliance.
Thank you for that overview. I think that kind of clears up a lot of questions that I definitely receive on tours, and obviously for our families who are here, it can help answer that question as well. I do have one question as well from one of our teachers. If a student in elementary has been exempted, will this also follow them into middle school?
So, Mr. Gregory, we already have
Yeah.
some kids that are exempted from the native Arabic classes. Does that follow them, or do they have to redo that paperwork?
Yeah, that follows through. Miss Anna would have that on a list, who's our government relations executive. She would just pass that on to the Arabic team, and then we know that those students are exempt. It's a good point. I'm going to make a note of it right now, actually, just to follow up and make sure, so that yes, they have an exemption that goes through into middle school and high school. No problem.
Definitely a fantastic point. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And so you're saying, just to be clear, you're saying that there's no non-native and native Arabic starting in middle school.
No. In middle school, you just go into that class. You go into a grade 6 Arabic class, and if you're a beginner, you get beginner work. If you're a mid-level student, just practicing your Arabic, you'll get mid-level. And if you're a high-earning student, you get high-level work, and you're graded as such. So that's really down to the flexibility. And honestly, like I say in many of these live streams, but we have the best Arabic and Islamic department in the whole country, in my opinion. It's down to their flexibility and ability to work with all those students' abilities. So.
Yeah, that's a good, because I know that there's native, native Islamic, non-native Islamic. That's why I wanted to make a distinction just to make sure. Okay, so all right, cool. We'll move on from that. I'm sure we'll have some questions about that as well. But let's move on to the next topic. So timeline. I like timelines, right? Get to see how it works in order. All right. So can we discuss the timeline of what parents should be expecting and students should be expecting in this process?
Yeah. This is for my sanity, and this is also for Miss Amanda to make sure that her parents know and all of her team know. But March 21st is next Thursday, and that's why we're doing this Thursday, just giving the information out this week. And then we're going to send out March 21st. The forms open up, which is where students get to select their subjects for next year. And then we keep it open for 5 weeks, and we're keeping it over that break. So students and families can start discussing, having conversations with teachers, having conversations with myself, Mr. Wessel, Ms. Dana, even you, Justin, whoever it is, having those conversations over dinner at home, over your iftar, and then deciding what classes that you need to pick for the following year. So we give them a nice 5-week period. Then April 25th, it closes, because then every single course request form that goes in will be reviewed by at least one of the administrative team, which is the counsellors, myself and Mr. Wessel. And we have about 800 forms to look over. And we need to make sure that they've all selected the right thing. And that takes about 2 weeks for us to do. And then we put that into a scheduling software after May 9th. June and July is essentially where hopefully I'm not working in July, but June is where we sort of optimize the schedule, run it through a program, and that optimizes to make sure that every student gets the course that they want. And that's why it's very important, because the more accurate the data and information that we put into the scheduling software is, the better it is for all of our students to get what they need. Last year we had a 98.5%, which bet my previous year at 96. So I'm hoping to maintain that, and it really speaks to just the flexibility that we have. So, and then you don't really get access to that until September 1st, which is the first day of school next year. So student schedules will be available then when they come in, but there will be no changes after September 1st. That being said, I do open up a September 1st to probably 7th, 18th 2-week period where if students don't like our class that they're in, they can come and request a change, and I'm pretty flexible with that. But I would warn parents that if that happens, I can't guarantee that you're going to have space in the course that you want to go to. So it's very important that you put it in, because I can nearly guarantee if you put it in this form now, by April 25th, you'll get the class. I can't guarantee at the beginning of September, if you decide to change your mind, you can get that course.
Mr. Eamonn, I want to let the public know just how much time and effort and scrutiny you put into the schedule to optimize it for everyone's first request. That's something that people don't see every single year that you do. And not saying that you have to do it, but you take that time and liberty because you really want everyone to get their first choice. And I think I want parents to know that, because we really try our best to be the best of service for all of our families. And there's a lot of little things that you may not see. So I'm here to kind of let you know. And that's part of my job, to educate you on certain things that you may not know and to connect you to things so you will know and we'll have the resource. But this is one of those things that he takes very seriously. And we kind of joke that he's a schedule master. And
I
we
understand
see, let me
that.
say it right now, I've improved off my last year's percentage. So he's really improving. He always is competitive when it comes to that. So I want to say thank you for that on behalf of the parents, because that's some things that you may not see on a daily basis. All right. So I think we can move on right to the next slide here. And so let's move on there. Miss Amanda, I think maybe a little bit time for you to come on and talk about Glowup Week, this fabulous week that we have. And I don't want to put too many words on it. So Miss Amanda, can you go ahead and explain what this week is and why it's so important for this transition?
Sure, I would love to. This week is at the end of May this year, so it's a couple weeks ahead, but it is a week that we partner up our 5th grade students with the 6th grade students, and they travel with them through all their classes. So they get to shadow the classes, meet the teachers, see what it's like to transition between carrying their bags the whole way. So it's a really good experience. It's half day. We get them back at lunchtime to kind of decompress and reflect on what they got to experience. But and they just, whatever 6th grade students they're partnered with are the classes they go to. So they won't be able to see every class, but it is a good opportunity to get their feet wet and get them through the door and see the system and how it works.
Are you going to go through the whole slide, maybe buddy system and things of that nature?
I can actually. Sorry.
Yeah, however you want to do it. You guys.
Okay. So just so parents know as well, what I referred to earlier was the Glowup committee. So all year, myself, Miss Amanda, the lower school counselor, and another grade 5 teacher, we have been planning several events to get students slowly accustomed to the new change in grade 6. So we have actually already gone through a Q&A session where students from grade 6 went and spoke to the grade 5s about their experience, introduced themselves, answered any questions they may have. And that's always a great way to get them to interact with, who will be their peers next year and learn from them and their subjective experiences. And then we also had an electives showcase, which means that all of your kids should have already had all the electives explained to them. We had each subject teacher come and talk about what their subject is about, how they're graded, what kind of projects they'll be doing, what kind of competencies they will leave the class with. So they should already know about all that when selecting their courses. And then coming up after this, we have a digital tour. So some of you may know we use Alma and Google Classroom a lot for everything really in upper school. So that's really to get the grade 5 students to learn their way around that. And our IT teacher from middle school will be sending his students to talk to the grade 5s about that and familiarize them with how to use Alma and Google Suite. And then the buddy system is going to be, so Glowup Week is what we call it. Glowup is because they glow up from grade 5 to grade 6, and we welcome them that way. So this year it's going to be May 26th to the 30th. Throughout that week, your student will go and buddy up with one grade 6 student or a middle school student and shadow them for the day so that they get used to, the tempo of how things go in middle school, how the transition from class to class is, and just spend that time in the upper school already. So it would be really important for them to attend that week, in case May 26th would be an important week for them. And at the end of that week, it all culminates in the Glow Up Day, which is a super fun day, also organized by the Glow Up Committee, where we give them t-shirts to wear, and that is a huge welcoming from all the middle school students and staff. Excuse me, sorry, I'm sick. So it's a day where they come in and it's all activities, and we show them around the campus, and that's it.
Yeah, you don't have to speak anymore. You did so much. I know you're sick, under the weather. Really appreciate you fighting through that and giving us that valuable information. I want to say, Miss Amanda, just before we kind of close out the Glow Up Week, how did this all come about, this Glow Up Week? Because you've been here for a while. So how did this come about? And talk about that kind of situation there.
I came over in the COVID transition. So everything was already kind of wonky, but we noticed that it was very difficult for our fifth grade students to come from one teacher to all of a sudden step into the other side of the building and have 8 teachers. That was probably the hardest part for them, not to mention that they have to navigate themselves through hallways and up and down the stairwell, where in elementary, they have always just been in one room and the teacher has taken them to each individual specials. So it was kind of just began as a conversation of what can we do to help facilitate this. And one idea just kept spiraling into more and more. And we ended up with the whole Glow Up committee with a Glow Up week at the end and different events. We try to schedule one event per month after the winter vacation. Wow. So that's what we've been trying to initiate.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you guys are doing it. I love what Grade 5 is doing. And this is also something I don't know if all parents know. I mean, they should know Grade 5, but you guys do something interesting where you're preparing them for Grade 6 and the transition to different teachers, right? So how do you guys set up that transition where you're teaching maybe math and then Garth is teaching something else? How do you guys do that to prepare them?
So one thing that we started last year is having partner teachers. So each teacher teaches a set of the subjects. So I am the math and science teacher along with social studies. And then my partner teacher would be Miss Muna, and she does the reading and writing. And so midday, the kids are switching between our 2 classrooms. And it really helps with them understanding that there's different teaching styles. And on a daily basis, you have to regulate who expects what and what expectations are necessary in each classroom. It makes them get a little bit more organized because they can only bring their math and science stuff to me. They have to leave all their reading and writing in their locker and make that switch midway. It takes them a really long time to make that switch in the beginning. So cutting down their time limit at the lockers is another thing, because I know in middle school they have 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know, a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3 to get from one class to another. So, I mean, that's just a big learning curve to make sure that you have all your materials the first time. So that's the big one that we do in 5th grade. And we got to start that at the beginning of this year. So they should be set up and ready to go.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool when I saw it, because I do go on the tours, and I think it really does prepare them. It does jolt them in the beginning, like, oh, but they get used to it. And by the time they go to Grade 6, they're still working through it. But it's a lot better with that transition. So thank you so much for explaining those things, Donna and Miss Amanda. Appreciate that. We're going to go on to the Grade 5 preparation. I don't know who wants to answer this one, but there are some questions here. How are we preparing Grade 5, and what's the next step for them?
So one of the things, I mean, this is kind of what I've already talked about, having the partner teacher. The other thing that we do is we make sure that these kids are independent. They're the ones responsible for knowing their test dates. They're the ones responsible for knowing when events are supposed to be. We do send home still messages on Dojo because we do know parents are very involved, but it's just gathering that independence and making sure that they're the ones that pack their bags at the night. If they forget their homework, they need to take the responsibility of the consequences. It's their homework and nobody else's homework. So that's another big learning curve that we do in 5th grade. I would say we have started implementing more Google Classroom. So hopefully that they are more prepared and can navigate through that system. So I know in science and on the math side, we set up a lot of different Google Classroom assignments that the kids have been completing and turning in for grades. And we've gotten them agendas lately so that they can write down all these events and tests and everything. So they have their own calendar system in front of them that they should be using on a daily basis.
All right, cool. Sounds like everyone is well prepared. There's intentionality between both grades. So I love it. I love seeing it. I love hearing it. All right, cool. we're almost done, everyone. Parents, I know you've been waiting. I know you have questions, and we're going to put them on the screen soon, but we're almost done. And this is the last slide, right? So on this slide, you'll see Mr. Wessel's information. He's the head of middle school right now. And then also Mr. Gregory, who's the head of all of upper school. So you'll see his information here. If you have any questions, these are the two people to go to at the top of that upper school hill, right? These are the two. So make sure you have this information down. And if you don't have it, my information probably. I send emails every week, the newsletter and such. Just email me if you don't have their email address. All right. So we are done with the presentation, but we do have questions from families. So I'm going to go back to our comments, and so we can look at the questions here. All right. So let's look at this one. I came in late, but when does the registration process start exactly? So who can answer that one?
But that one could be you as well, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but booking your seat for next year started in January, right?
Yes.
Payment,
So
re-enrollment.
Yeah. So I'm thinking she's maybe talking more. I don't know if it's she or he is talking more about the course request. Maybe, I don't know. But if it's the course request, it's the 21st, right? It starts
Correct.
next week. Okay, 21st. So if you're talking about the course request, that process will start on the 21st. There's a deadline is it April?
April 25th.
April 25th, right? That'll be the deadline to complete the course request. And whatever you put on this course request form is final, right? Whatever you put, unless it's extenuating circumstances. Now, if you're talking about registration, this is in my land right now. It's already started, and we're in the process now of re-enrollment. So the purpose of re-enrollment is for us to know what families do we have now are coming back for next school year. We want to make sure that we service our families first, right? Our current families in the school. So once we know what current families are coming back to our school or leaving our school, we're still doing enrollment for anybody external that's prospective coming into our school, but we want to make sure we have the numbers first. So this is why we're doing re-enrollment, which is actually the deadline is April 22nd, but we're still accepting students from other schools. It is busy, and I mean that. It is busy. So want to make sure that if you're a current parent, make sure the re-enrollment is done as soon as possible. Even if you don't pay, just let us know your intentions, right? And if you're a prospective parent, our parents can benefit from a refer a friend and get 4% discount from referring friends, right? So they can enroll. And if they enroll in the school, then you get 4% tuition discount for each time that happens. So hopefully we answered both of those registration questions. I'm not sure, but let us know in the comments if we answered that correctly for you. All right. Cool. So let's go on to the next comment here. Will this information provided here be made available to us in written form? So what do you think, Mr. Gregory?
Written form is I hope a PowerPoint is okay. So the PowerPoint that I went through with all of the bullet points, I'm going to send. I just shared that with Miss Amanda, so she can just send it out as a view only with all the information. And there's a small video there. And of course, this video that we just talked about is going to be available on YouTube land and Facebook land. So you can watch it live again if you wanted and you had questions there. And of course, we have an open door policy. At any time you want to book, please book a meeting. I am that busy that I need my secretary to book meetings. But if you want to speak with me or Mr. Wessel, we've a pretty good response rate and getting meetings booked. So if you want to come in and have a conversation specific to your child, we can do that. It might not necessarily be me or the principal or assistant principal. It might be Miss Dana. It might be upcoming assistant principal, Mr. Griffiths, or it could just be Miss Amanda giving you some advice on what you think is best for your child. Or, as I said, for example, if you're interested in the music program in grade 6, it's probably best for you to talk with your music teacher in grade 5 and see whether your child's ready for that. So just depending on which conversation it is. But yeah, I'll send out the slideshow. Miss Amanda can send it out through Class Dojo. There's no information there.
Okay. Can I also piggyback on that?
Yeah.
Our weekly newsletters will have everything that our parents need to know from the 5th grade end. So please, please, please be paying attention to those highlighted dates in that Glowup section on the first page of our newsletter. And along with that, we will be sending out Shobana, correct me if I'm wrong, but on Sunday, an entire letter of what to expect for when the Alma registration link comes out. So everything that we are sending in these next couple of days are going to be very important to actually read through and digest and understand and click the links and watch the videos so that everything goes smoothly.
All right, sounds great. A lot of information. Sounds like we're over communicating, which I love. So definitely could find it a lot of places. All right, so let's go into the next question here. What happens to students who are in non-native Arabic and would like to continue but can't handle the Arabic for Arabs course?
So it is differentiated to the student's ability. So a lot of non-Arab students who come in and just want to take Arabic as a foreign language can. There's a separate program that they run with separate assessments. So that is just dealt with within the class. Usually I'll walk into a class of 25 and I see 5 students to the side who are working on a program on their laptops with the teacher sporadically checking in with them to see that they're ongoing. They have separate assessments, all of those things. So it's completely differentiated to their level. It's working at the moment. We haven't been forced into moving towards a separate classroom for them because it's just been working. But that being said, a few parents sometimes think that the French or the Spanish courses are usually a better option for a world language. But Arabic is there. If they like Arabic, they can take Arabic as a non-native student, and we'll get their needs met.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go to the next question here. What about the Arabic exam for those who are in non-native Arabic class? Will they have a beginner's exam? Good question.
Yeah, the Ministry of Education mandates the Islamic and Arabic sort of curriculum. But for those students who are beginner, they just lower the level and give them more of a beginner exam. You might change the wording or the question, still do the same standards and goals essentially, but just at a lower level for those students. Yeah, it can be a contentious point between parents sometimes if they feel like the student should be doing better, and then they think it's because the student's being penalized for being in an Arabic classroom. But from my experience, 98% of the time, that's not actually the fact. And it's just down to the students not really meeting the expectations of even that beginner course. So, yeah.
Right. And speaking of 98%, 98% satisfaction rate. Yes, definitely.
A number for today, yeah.
Mr. Gregory does well with that. So definitely thank you for that. So next question. If the Arabic and Islamic are mandatory as per the passport, will this exclude 2 out of the 4 selective or elective subjects?
Yeah. That's 2 out of the 4 that they got to pick. And like with other students, let's say for a student who's non-Arab and Muslim, they would have the option to pick Arabic, French, or Spanish and Islamic. So we really do. There's exceptions to this rule. You don't have to take a world language, but we really, really recommend that you do because most universities and colleges will expect some sort of world language when you're applying. So it's really good for students to start that in 6th grade. And it's also important that students take the Islamic, non-native Islamic. You can take it as an option if you want it as well. But yeah, short story is that that's 2 out of 4 that you got to pick.
Thank you for that. This is another good question as well. Is it a first come first serve basis with the course request form?
Nope. There's no difference from someone who submits it on March 21st and anybody who submits it on April 25th. They are all put into a big data sheet at the same time. There's no timestamps assigned to it, and we adjust it to make sure it suits. It's just we put it in and we build a schedule off all of what the students wanted, and we try to get all of the students into their classes. We don't eliminate them. There's no process that we say a student can't get into a course because they signed up late. That doesn't happen. It does impact them though if they come back to me in September and they want to change a class. Those students are second priority. Students who wanted to be in the art class, for example, and art is full, and a student then decides they want to drop IT in September and go into art, I can't guarantee that that's going to happen. Now, I can obviously, usually what happens is if a student really wants to drop an elective in the beginning of September, I will give them options of what's available, and sometimes put them on waiting list then in September. But this course request form, no, it's not first come, first serve. It's everybody gets hopefully that 98% success rate. Yeah.
All right, cool. Next question. This is a good question as well. So just got to the stream late. How can we sign up for the courses? Will the school send us an email or a link to sign up on the 21st?
Ms. Shubhana, you want to answer that one?
Yeah.
Sure. So the Alma activation link, that email will be sent to all grade 5 parents on Sunday, coming Sunday, March 17th. And when the course request form opens on March 21st, I advise them to activate within before Thursday. Like 1 or 2 days after they receive the activation email from Alma, they should be activating it. That is highly suggested.
Cool.
And also, I want to emphasize on this point, if parents have kids already in upper school, they might have already logged into Alma, right? So their passwords will also be reset just to make sure that they have their credentials, like they remember their passwords and all. So I will be resetting their passwords even if they have their Alma activated.
Thank you, Shobana. Great to have you on the panel. And thank you. I want to thank you as well. Appreciate your question. All right. So a couple more questions here. Sorry, I just joined. Please list down the course items. So Syed, thank you for coming. After this live stream is done, you can actually look at the recording and see the list of the different subjects that grade 6 can pick. And so I would just suggest that after the live stream is done, check out YouTube or Facebook and then see the recorded stream, and you'll see all the listing from the presentation that we did earlier in the live stream.
Courses are at minute 9.
At minute 9. Okay. Are you time stamping for me? All right. I got you. All right. Amar, how you doing? Is it mandatory to bring personnel device laptop every day in middle school? Any rules to avoid students becoming addicted?
Great question. That's a great question. It's one that we missed for sure. We're a BYOD 6 through 12. Bring your own device. It could be a laptop, tablet, whatever is best for your students' needs and what they use best. Is there any rules to avoid students becoming addicted? We try our best. Mobile phones in middle school are of course banned. Students aren't allowed to use mobile phones, only at the end of the day when they're getting their Ubers or getting pickups. But every classroom is different. Some teachers will use the laptop every day. Some teachers will not use the laptop every day. So you get a great variety of different teaching strategies within each classroom. And that really breaks up that thing. So honestly, apart from their 30, 25-minute break where they can go, and we usually the goal is to make our students independent and responsible. So if lunchtime they want to go on and work on an assignment on their laptop, they're allowed to. But of course, we try to monitor that and make sure that they're using appropriate websites and stuff as well. And also the Wi-Fi, Ms. Shubhana can adhere to that one, blocks a lot of the channels that we don't allow. So if students come here with a device like a laptop, the Wi-Fi should block them out. And if you as a parent give them data cards or data, unfortunately that supersedes the Wi-Fi network, and that's how they get access to it. So we need parent support in that. Don't give your grade 6 students any data, maybe on their phone, that's fine, but don't give it to them. And they won't have access to any sort of gaming websites or inappropriate content.
That's an awesome question as well. I know it's a simple question, but it opened up a lot in terms of everything. So it's a really good question. I appreciate that. Syed, thank you so much. Yep, thank you for coming today. And then we have one more question here. Speaking of personal devices, do you have a list of suggested devices that would be most helpful for students in middle school? I don't know. Shobana may have some insight on this. Mr. Gregory may have insight on this. What do you think?
The piece of advice that I always give is a laptop, because they're going to be expected to write essays at some stage and they're going to type. So that type of device is really effective. But I've also had a grade 11 student who I gave that advice to, who was superior on an iPad than he was on a keyboard. And it's just this generation. I hate to say it, I'm getting a little older, but I still think that I'm a young principal. But some of the students really impressed me from 11, 12, 13 years of age with how much they can type on an iPad, a touchscreen. So it really is just down to your child. But if you were going to ask my advice, I would recommend a laptop with a keyboard. It can be Mac and it can be Lenovo. It can be any of those brands as long as it comes on, and it's up to date, as all the most recent softwares and stuff. But yeah.
Can I piggyback on that one too? Because I
Yeah.
recently had a parent ask that exact same question before the winter break because they wanted to get their child something that would last them. And Mr. Juan, the IT teacher from middle school, sent me an entire list of different devices he recommended. So maybe we can add that to one of our newsletters or put that out to all the families on Dojo. So I'll go back and attempt to find that list and get that to you guys as well.
That sounds great. Sounds wonderful. All right. Another question came in as well, or statement. So sorry for myself and the school for not providing this information as a new parent. We joined the school during the year, and no one learned for me and my kids, especially since they came from an IB curriculum. So what I would say, Ms. Rania, if you came into the school new and you have any questions, this is what I'm here for. I'm literally the connector. I'm either going to connect you to the resources that you need me to connect you to, or I'll educate you on the very question that you're asking. So please feel free to email me. That's my job, literally what I am here for, to make sure that you have everything answered. This is my email address here. I'll leave it here for another 10 seconds. Please make sure you email me. That is my job. I work on behalf of the parents and for the parents. All right. So any questions you have, the transition is always difficult coming from IB or British and another curriculum. We're here to help you. Okay. I have a 50-page parent guide to give you. You can come into my office and have a conversation with me as well. We can link up with the principals and set you up. So we don't want to leave you out there. We're here for you. Okay. All right. So hopefully that helped, Rania. And then I think we're done now with the questions, which is great. Thank you, parents, for the questions that you provided. I just have a couple of announcements before we go. On the 16th of March, we actually have a Saturday school tour. Yes, we work on Saturdays sometimes as well, right? And so this school tour is going to be for parents who are looking to come to our school or looking for a new school home. So this is why we say for parents to make sure that you can refer parents. If you believe in our school, you can refer them to our school and to see if this is the best school for them. And what a great opportunity for Saturday. No work involved primarily for anyone, no conflicts there. Just come down to our school. So we're going to be here from, I think, 1 to 2 o'clock. So in the comments, you're going to see this link. And I'm going to put the link down there now. If you know any families who are interested in coming to this tour, they can click on this link here, and the link will provide them the access to register for the weekend tour, okay? So we really need your help to spread the word for this weekend tour. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And then in terms of refer a friend. So as you refer someone, it's our way of saying thank you. We give you 4% tuition discount each time someone you refer comes to our school. So this is the perfect way to do that for this event, and also to get your 4% if the student actually comes to our school and starts in term 1, right? And this can be any time throughout the year. You can earn this 4% each time you do this, all right? And so I'm going to right now include the refer a friend link. We actually have a link on our website where you can refer a friend and literally send that link to that family. And so we're going to put it here in the comment section for you here. And this is the link to refer a friend on our website. So hopefully that is helpful for you. We're trying to do a better job to streamline all of the referrals that you do in our school, because you guys give us a lot of referrals, and we wouldn't have grown the way that we're growing without you. Honestly, I'll be very honest with you. Marketing is one thing, but it's so much stronger when you're having a parent say, hey, this is a great school. You need to come. You do that. You're our biggest ambassador, so really appreciate that. All right. So we're at the end, and I have one more comment from a parent, and I'll put it here. There you go. Thank you, Miss Amanda. Shout out to Miss Amanda. All right. Thank you, my friends, Donna, Eamonn, Shobana, Amanda, thank you for coming today. Parents, we love y'all. Thank y'all for coming today and supporting us. And hopefully this live stream was helpful. Any parents who did not see the live stream, it is recorded and it will be living on Facebook and our YouTube pages. Just check it out. It's going to be recorded there. And if you have any questions, you know my email. All right. We can get you set up with any questions that you have. Thank you so much for taking your time to come to this live stream. And we're going to be signing off. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Enjoy your Thursday. Have a good one.